Avatar's revenue accounting module tracks production revenue by product, property, production date, or general ledger date through user-defined product codes within the system. At the time of posting the production revenue, our software looks at the division of interest and splits the revenue between working and royalty ownership interest. Avatar is the most flexible revenue reporting solution in the industry. Let's take a closer look at this module. The Avatar400 revenue system is built with our users in mind. Ease of input and ease of output is the primary objective with any revenue system. To begin our view of the revenue system, we're going to start with our system control records. These are one-time setup where properties and things can be identified so that the user has less keystrokes when inputting. In this example, we have identified that for gas, anytime gas is input, that the inside account for working is 8200, inside for royalty is 8202, the account 8201 and 8203 are used for the outside working and royalty, the income account's 8005, and so on through the deleted. As you can see, once these are set up and a simple G is input into the revenue entry, the system automatically knows where to post those entries into the general ledger. We also have another revenue check writing control record that actually tells it the expense account, the payable account, and the minimum annual temporary and legal suspense accounts. So once again, based on the criteria of where you have set your control record for minimum pay or whether an owner is in legal suspense, the system would know where to actually put that money in the general ledger, and it would identify what cash account to make the payments from. So let's go look at division of interest next, because those are very important to the land and the revenue payments as well. To access the division order menu, we will simply go back to accounting, to division orders, to maintain division orders. And we're going to look at one well, well 6100. This is the Carrier Henderson well. There's 5 owners in that division of interest, and the total is 100%. To see who actually is in that division of interest, we can put a 12 in front. These are our owners. These are our working interest owners in their decimals, and these are our net revenue interest or royalty or override interest. We also have the ability to look at our intercompany transfer information. In this example, Avatar Systems, the data that is input in Company 3, when we disperse revenue, it will actually intercompany transfer or duplicate their entries into Company 150. So if you have a group of owners or a partnership or another corporation that you want to track their revenue through the system, this eliminates duplicate keying on your behalf. So once the division orders are set up and you've got your products set up, we also have state revenue deductions where you can identify codes that are coming down through CDEX, for example, what minor account they go in, and if they are a payable or a suspense item. These are definable by state so that when you are actually doing your keying, you will see those. We actually have the ability to transfer suspense from one owner to another owner. And so we're going to actually go into the revenue system. And the first option off the revenue system is to enter and post revenue. I am going to be setting up a batch here so you can see how simple it is to key a revenue entry, but I also want to mention that we do allow for uploads from Excel. We can actually we give you a format that has the correct columns in it. So if you're doing an allocation based on volumes and it's the same allocation every month, you can put that Excel spreadsheet in your workbook and it would actually have your data, and that can be uploaded into this instead of someone having to manually key it. But I'm just going to enter a check number, a check date. I do want this to post to my AR so I can verify all my receipts are in. I'm going to enter the well number. I'm going to tell it this is oil production simply by pressing an O. It will pick the correct division of interest based on my production date, which I'm going to say is November. I'm not going to input a contract number, and I'm just going to input 8/8 numbers, just some very simple numbers here. And now we're down to our severance tax, and we'll press enter. When it does, it asks us if we have any compression charges. Let's say we have $50 worth of compression charges, and I'm not going to do DHI handling or pipeline charges, and we'll press enter, and it actually comes back and calculates that down where I can verify the check I received is $725. If it is, I can hit enter. I can continue entering wells for this check, or if I'm through, I can simply F3 out, and it will bring me back where I can post this payment. So I'm going to put an 8 in this option box, and that entry has now been posted into the general ledger. To view the report that was generated when we actually posted that entry, we're going to go out to our print menu and look at that report. So if we click here, click display, we can actually see this is our revenue batch entry. It shows the volumes, the compression chart, the gross amount, the other deducts, and the net revenue. It would show it for every portion of the check that you had input. So all we have left now to do is run checks. We have an option of one of two ways of making payments. We're going to go look at how you would actually set up an owner to be ACH'd and emailed their check stub data. I'm going to go into maintain EDI owners. We'll pull up company 3, and I have one owner that is actually going to be ACH'd. And so when this is ran, it will send revenue checks by ACH, land checks by ACH. How do I want to do the check stub format? I want to email it. We have a standard format that we can email out that information. You can actually print or fax. Most people do email. And JIBs, if you'd like to do the same thing, we have those same things available. You input the bank account name, the customer ID at the bank's name, the routing number, the checking account number, whether it's checkings or savings, whether you've tested it on pre-note, the email address you're going to send your information to, and a fax number if you are interested in faxing that data. So during the revenue run, a file is created for you to be able to download and send to the bank. We do not send anything directly to your bank. We feel that is a user's responsibility to know when they want their funds released. But the check is created and the emails are sent out actually during your revenue cycle. There's no additional options to take. Now let's talk about what type of revenue checks we actually do. We do normal revenue checks, which is your general run-of-the-mill, we're going to pay everybody revenue checks. Whether we're printing them checks or doing email and ACH, that's strictly normal checks. Special checks are if you want to pay one owner or one well. They actually still do the ACH and the email, but it's just a special, unique situation where I need to make payment for one well. And we also do netted checks that deduct the expenses that an owner owes you in AR. It does do the ACH and the email as well. But we're going to look at just normal revenue checks. So we're going to put in our company number. We're going to tell it the time frame of the last entry that I input into the general ledger. I'm going to give it a date to post my checks, the date for the ICT of the duplicate information for my other companies that I set up on my DOI, and the check date. Now all of these dates could be different based on your bookkeeping. I'm going to tell it to release legal suspense, not to do annual. This isn't my annual disbursement. I'm going to tell it to override corporate minimums. On my corporate control record, I can identify for my corporation what I want my minimum check amount to be. Most companies use $100, but you have a few owners that will ask, I need my checks if they're over $10, I need my checks if they're over $25. If your corporation has made the decision that you will honor those requests, we have the ability where you set up just the owner number and the amount, and with this option being yes, it will actually write those a check for a smaller than $100 amount. It asks me if I want to include current revenue. If this is an edit run, yes. I'm just going to say it is. It's going to display my next check number that it will actually use. I can change that if I need be, but that is not something anyone has to keep up with. The system does it for you. So I'm going to press enter, and we're going to go look at all the reports that are generated through the revenue system. Something to note is that you can run pre-edits numerous times throughout a time period, as often as you need or as few as you need. So let's look at the reports. To access reports, we simply click F5 and our reports are immediately available with the power and the processing behind the I-Series, the Avatar400. If we click display, we can see this is the revenue distribution report by entity. Here's our $725 we just input into revenue. You can see it's out there by gross, severance, and other deductions, and it tells you the amounts. So let's go look at the check register. Wrong one. Let's go look at the check register. The check register actually shows us who is being paid and what they're being paid on. Of course, this is a valuable source document for any payments that are received. It tells you their run date, their volumes, gross, and their share, their decimals, whether it's being intercompany transferred or whether a check is being written for it or an ACH. Our next one we will look at is actually some check detail. This would print on a MICR check form, and it just shows you the same type of information. The well name, the county, the state is required, the volumes, their share, average pricing, who the check is payable to. So all of these are available at your fingertips once the revenue is either uploaded from Excel or input or uploaded through CDEX. Just valuable information, lots of reporting for transferring revenue suspense, calculating Oklahoma, New Mexico, any of the states withholding taxes. We actually do United States backup withholding. Our 1099 system pulls directly from the revenue system. Those systems should never be out of sync for owners that you are wanting to mail miscellaneous 1099s to. There are so many wonderful features of Avatar's revenue accounting module that can revolutionize how your business operates. Contact Avatar Systems today.